this is Viveka from the Nourish Caveman and the Healing Foods Method. For those of you who don't know me yet, I am a keto nutritionist and I specialize in female hormones and thyroid, and actually pretty much all hormones, which includes cortisol. And therefore the topic of the day, which is adrenals. Let me just fix this video a little bit. So as I'm waiting for people to come in and join me, I just want to introduce myself again. I am a cookbook author and I'm also the creator of the program, the Healing Foods Method. I've been working as a nutritionist for the last 6 years. And for the last 5 years, I've been specializing in ketogenic diets, especially what I call keto paleo, which is a special version of the ketogenic diets, that diet that's based on high nutrient foods and is based on eliminating dairy as part of it, and also really using fresh and processed foods. So today I wanted to do another Q&A, even though it was kind of a last minute thing that I announced. I love having your questions and your interactions. So if those of you that are watching want to introduce the topic briefly and then see where that this takes us, is about the big topic of adrenals. But first of all, welcome to the live video. Thank you so much for watching. And I would love to hear, where are you coming from? Where are you watching me from? I'm here in beautiful Ojai, California, and today finally the fog has lifted. It's been like June gloom big time here in California, like marine layer, foggy cold mornings and beautiful days. But now it's 4:30 and the fog is lifted, it's sunny. So where are you guys watching me from? Please just feel free to chime in into the chat so I can see you and see where are you joining us from. Last time I had some viewers from Canada and some from different parts of the United States. It's always really exciting to see like who's here and where you're coming from. I love these live videos because this is an opportunity for me to connect with you, connect with my audience, and get some, good questions going, and also be more present on what topics are of interest to you and what challenges you're facing and how we can best navigate them and resolve them. I today picked the topic of adrenals because last week in the Keto Q&A that we had, one of the readers, viewers, asked about menopause and how to navigate it. And then because I had just recently talked about menopause, well, it's been a couple of months. Saint Martin, oh my goodness, I am jealous now. Oh, I want to go to the beach so bad. And Robin is joining us from Santa Barbara. Wow, you're so close, Robin. Should come by for some keto meals sometimes. I love feeding people, by the way. And from Michigan, hi Renee, thanks for watching. Yay, I hope the weather is nice and warm there too. And is it still foggy in Santa Barbara, Robin? Because like yesterday I went to Ventura, which is just down the street towards the ocean here, and here was already sunny and warm, and I went down there and it was like fog. It looked like November. Yeah, I know. Oh yes, Renee, and she's here. We will definitely hint on menopause, but feel free to ask questions as I address the topic. Is that my reflection? There is this weird reflection in my phone. I can't tell if it's me. I don't know, I can't see anything. Anyways, guys, let's jump in, or ladies, I should say, because I think it's all ladies so far who are chiming in. Let's talk about adrenals. Why did I pick this topic today? Because adrenal function is so vital to our well-being. It is one of the things that one of the topics in nutrition that's finally really starting to come up and getting more attention. But because of these crazy lifestyles that we live nowadays, with the stress, technology, accelerated stressors, like we're constantly inundated, and it's not exactly balmy. Yeah, I know, it's been cold. So we've been constantly inundated by stress, and it's like the schedules have been fuller and fuller, especially as women and as mothers, having to deal with the children. A lot of you readers or watchers have kids and a job and a career and a husband and a household to keep track of, and whatever else comes, that life throws at you. So we are definitely living some pretty stressful lifestyles. I know I am, and I don't even have kids. I just have patients, and I should have a pretty calm life with my business, but there's always something. And as our hormones, female hormones, fluctuate and change throughout our lives, there is a very close relationship between the health of our adrenals and the health of our hormones. Just to give you an idea, when our body produces cortisol in high amounts, like so elevated cortisol levels for long periods of time, one of the direct effects of that is that it will imbalance our hormone production. So it will affect androgens and estrogens. That means it can lead to estrogen dominance, which I don't know if any of you have heard of estrogen dominance, but estrogen dominance can be relative or absolute, meaning we either have really high estrogen or we have higher estrogen relative to progesterone in the body. And the high estrogen can lead to problems like creation of fibroids or really heavy painful periods, cramps in your periods. And it can be a problem for fertility. And it can also be a problem as we transition to perimenopause and then to menopause, because it will have us become very symptomatic. The other important factor is testosterone. Even though we don't have a lot of testosterone as women, the little bit we have is really important for libido. So when a lot of women experience zero libido, is because testosterone has tanked, and that is another effect of high cortisol. So high periods of stress, long periods of stress, intense stress. Stress can, by the way, be psychological or physiological. So it could be the stress from the work or arguing with your boss or your kids, just the demands of your children. Or it can be a physiological stress, which is like, for example, toxins in our body. If we are heavy metal toxic, or if we are toxic with pesticides. Glyphosate right now is rampant, and it's a little bit scary even to think about it, but it's everywhere, and they found it even in the placenta of fetuses, in places that you would think are clean and remote, and still they're finding glyphosate. So all of these are stressors that affect the functions of the adrenal glands and the production of the hormone cortisol. So cortisol, like the way we are designed, I'm just going to go into this in a nutshell, but we are evolutionarily designed to handle stress, but short periods, short bursts of stress, like the famous running away from a tiger kind of stress, we are definitely not designed to this kind of level of stimulus that we receive every day, especially from technology, when, we are constantly bombarded by social media. We're on our phones all day, and people are messaging all day. They want immediate answers. And then there is emails, and then there is the news, which I don't personally watch, and I don't recommend it because I already have, want to keep my cortisol levels in good standing. So the news can be a double-edged sword there. It really can trigger a lot of stress, especially when there are certain things that they're out of control for us. We have absolutely zero control over them. So they send us into this mental loops of anxiety. And a lot of people are suffering from anxiety these days. This is a whole other topic. I've touched on it in several videos, and I deal with it in my practice almost every day, as I would say 80% of my clients suffer from anxiety. So I can speak a little bit more about the relationship of adrenals and your symptoms or symptoms you might have, and how it can affect menopause and perimenopause especially. But I would love to hear if you guys have any questions. Also, thank you so much for being here and watching, and you can still chime in and let me know where you're watching from. But what about questions about adrenal functions, or are you curious? No question is too simple or for granted. Like, you can ask me absolutely anything, because I'm a nutritionist. I do this for a living. I do this every day, so I have a lot of knowledge about it. But it's for the average person, like, your relationship with your adrenal glands is not always immediate and clear. And some people don't even know what are adrenals. I talk about adrenals a lot, and people ask me, it's like, what are the adrenals? Where are they? What do they do? So no question is stupid, and please feel free to ask me anything that you're curious about. And if you don't, I will just keep chatting over here. But I would love for you to interact with me. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to answer questions and try to bring you some valuable knowledge, tips, and advice on how to navigate, health situations, especially hormone situations. And all of that, of course, within the context of a ketogenic diet, because that's what I base myself in. Different varieties of ketogenic diets, but definitely we're starting from the standpoint of keto. So thank you, Robin. Yay, finally a question. Hey, Marshandra. Hi, thank you for watching. So Robin is asking, blood tests we can do to determine adrenal function. That's an excellent question. I love it. I was going to talk about that. So there, you can test cortisol in the blood, but it is actually recognized by the National Society of Endocrinology, in the United States, that it's an absolutely inadequate way of testing. So the best way to test your adrenals is a saliva test, and is called the AI, or Adrenal Index Test. And it's done with 4 samples of saliva, because cortisol is closely related to our circadian rhythms. So it's supposedly, like, ideally what would happen is that cortisol starts getting juiced up in our system and getting ready around 4 or 5 a.m. And that's also why a lot of people will wake up at 5 a.m. or at 4 a.m. because there is what is called the pre-dawn effect, where all the hormones are starting to get us ready to get up with the sun. Ideally, if we're well aligned with the circadian rhythms, we should be able to be up and running and ready when the sun comes up, just like a chicken. So the cortisol will spike in the morning, and if you look at it like a graph, and be like the highest in the morning, and then gently start coming down until about 0 towards the evening. And that is because you need to go to sleep, so that melatonin will then spike naturally, and you will get sleepy and fall asleep easily. That's in an ideal world. But when you test with the saliva and you take these 4 samples, one is taken first thing in the morning, I think there is another one like at around 11 or 12 in the morning, and then another one in the afternoon, and then one at night, so that you can see where is your cortisol. First of all, if it's in a good range, because there is a range of function. So we want to know if it's in range, and also we want to know if it's going with the circadian rhythm. Certain people, you wouldn't believe it, but they have low cortisol in the morning, suddenly spikes in the evening. And those are the people that get really wired at night. They've been tired all day, you've been slugging all day, and then you suddenly are awake, and then you're a night owl. But that is not natural, and it's also a byproduct of all this technology that we are, constantly in front of, because the light from the phone, the light from the neon lights, the light from the computer it just upsets our circadian rhythm. So there is something, I don't know if you guys have you ever heard of blue blocker glasses. It was a big thing in the keto community, in the paleo community a few years ago. There is some value to that. I also have apps on all my electronics, on my phone and computer, that dim and warm up the screen as the sun sets. And it helps us to mimic the sunset so that our eyes don't perceive this blue light, so that we can actually trigger that melatonin, which is produced by the pineal gland. And the melatonin needs to kick in for us to fall asleep. So answer to your question was saliva testing, adrenal index test. I strongly recommend that. And by the way, you guys, just as a side note here, I do work with labs. I read labs and I interpret them in a functional way, and I can also prescribe most labs. So if there is any of you that's interested and cannot get them out of your doctor because they refuse to do it, you can always come to me and we can run labs for you. Of course, they're gonna be, you're gonna have to pay for them. That sucks unless the insurance cover them, but you can also just read your labs if you're not satisfied with what your doctor had to say. So Renee had a question here. So diagnosed with adrenal fatigue. I'm sorry to hear that. Wanting tips and menopausal. So what will happen a lot of times is that once you are menopausal, so what happens in perimenopause and why are the adrenals so important is that as our ovaries start to reduce function and they start kind of fading away, I always tell my clients, your ovaries just retired and moved to Florida and left you there. And so the ovaries retire and move to Florida, and your adrenals are the ones who are taking over the job. So like, for example, the estrogen production and certain other hormones in the body are taken, that hormone production is taken over by the adrenal, especially in the cortex. So the adrenals kind of like take on double duty, and not only they are the regulators of our blood sugar at some level, but they kind of have this function, extra function to watch our blood sugar, which is another big stressor for adrenals. Is like when your blood sugar is going up and down like a roller coaster. But they also have to step in and step up in perimenopause to take over the hormone producing function as you go into menopause. And that is one of the main reasons why so many women become symptomatic once you go into menopause and you are coming from already depleted adrenals. So one of the first things I do for my clients as they come to me and they're symptomatic is we support the adrenals. How do we do that? Well, the first thing, and it's an easy thing that you can do yourself without the help of a practitioner, is start regulating your blood sugar, meaning start eating keto, preferably keto paleo, and start making sure you start your day with good fat and protein to set up your blood sugar for the rest of the day. Don't eat fruit in the morning, especially if you're carbohydrate sensitive. Sorry, there is a woodpecker outside my window and he's making a big ruckus, and he's kind of cute, but it's very loud, kind of like Woody Woodpecker. It looks just like that. Okay, so please quiet. So blood sugar regulation, starting from the morning, start your day with fat and protein. The other thing, measure your blood sugars. If you see that your blood sugars throughout the day are bouncing all over the place, then you know that your adrenals are getting a hit, because they are needing to step in with cortisol and balance that blood sugar as well. It's not just insulin. Cortisol is also involved in blood sugar regulation. What else I would do? Well, in my practice, of course, I try to, really watch the diet, make sure they're eating keto paleo, plenty of protein. When you start to balance your blood sugar, you do need to eat at least 3 times a day. So here is about also intermittent fasting and adrenal function. Those two things don't always go together because of the blood sugar regulation. So if you're a woman, especially in perimenopause, or you're symptomatic and you're doing keto and everybody's talking intermittent fasting and they're like, it's great, I lost weight, it's great, I feel so good, but you're already having either compromised adrenals or really, delicate on the brink adrenals, and you add in intermittent fasting too quickly without preparing for it, is gonna just send you down that slippery slope and make everything worse. So if you know you have adrenal fatigue, or you're suspecting it, or your blood sugars are dysregulated, then do eat 3 times a day at least. I don't really recommend snacks unless you're coming from sad diet, extreme dysregulation, and your blood sugars are already all over the place, you're addicted to carbs, you're craving sugar all the time. Then eating more 3 times and then snacks in between can be helpful, but then always snack with protein, not with carbs. That's, of course, we think in the keto world we know that, but it's always a good reminder. So we talked about that and eating throughout the day, and then I use specific supplements as well, like herbal adaptogens. I talk about adaptogens a lot. They help us adapt to stress. So there are different herbs like ashwagandha, rhodiola, rehmannia. I use them either in capsule form or in tincture form. And if you are thinking tinctures, it's probably a good idea to work with a practitioner, because tinctures are really powerful. And, they're almost like a medication in the sense they're like concentrating and really powerful. And you don't really know which one would be the best for you or how to use it. Ashwagandha is pretty safe to use, and it can be used morning and night, and it has a lot of different benefits. Get a good organic one if you're using it by yourself. Again, I muscle test all my clients, long distance and not. All my clients are long distance. I have very few in-person clients. I have clients all over the world, and I do remote muscle testing so that I can determine, when I have an idea about their protocol, which product is actually the best for them. Aside for adaptogen, I also use glandulars, which is something that only a practitioner should use, but sometimes they're really needed in order to support that adrenal function, so your adrenals can actually be nourished and restore the function and get some support. Minerals are really important, and like one of the base nutrients for adrenals is vitamin C. So making sure that you do have enough vitamin C in the diet. Of course, the woodpeckers are having a full-on party out there. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but they're very distracting. All right, well, I'm glad that helped, Renee. And if, again, you have more specific questions, you can always reach out to me, and I do consultations. And, sometimes it just goes, a lot of times, it goes beyond what help I can just give you here generically, but we can do as much as we can here. And then, of course, there is the individual work that we can do together if you need that kind of support. All right, I know there are more watchers, and you haven't even told me where you're watching from yet, leave alone ask more questions. So I have another patient call, by the way, today in about half an hour. So I think this is not going to be a super long video. I want to give you a couple more minutes to have the opportunity to ask more about adrenals, but I think we covered a good amount of stuff already. And you're very welcome, Renee. Thank you for watching. So is there anything else that you would like to ask me? Because otherwise I think we're gonna wrap it up. Oh, Terry is from Missouri. Wow. Thank you for watching us, Terry. So any more questions? Otherwise, Arkansas. Hi, Stacy from Arkansas. Wow, this is cool. I need to visit those corners of the United States at some point. I'm still an import here from Italy, and I haven't even seen all of the United States. So let me see. I had made some notes if there is anything. Oh yeah, let's. All right, bye, Robin. Thank you for watching. So one more thing that I want to mention is the effect of adrenals and thyroid. So another Arkansas. Hi, Lubna. when adrenals are malfunctioning and the cortisol is elevated, another big impact is on the functioning of our thyroid. So a lot of people who have hypothyroidism, that hypothyroidism might have been initiated by hypoadrenal or hyperadrenal. So in nutrition, there is a pattern that we see very often, which is hyperadrenal and hypothyroid. So your adrenals are in overdrive and they're like, push on the gas, push on the gas, push on the gas. And the thyroid is like, no, wait a minute, you can't live like this, it's going to kill you. So let's push on the brakes. And so the adrenals hyperfunction, the thyroid underfunctions. And then we get this really dysfunctional pattern where, you know, all your numbers in your thyroid are dropping and your body is just trying to slow down, but the stress is pushing you. And, you know, the cortisol is constantly elevated. So that's something else to watch for. And as the last little thing before we wrap this up, if you don't have any more questions, I would suggest mindfulness practices to manage stress. Of course, we can help manage stress with supplements, like we say, adaptogens, minerals. We can also use homeopathics. They're great for both supporting detoxifying the adrenals and the thyroid and supporting the function, but also homeopathics to control stress as like just like for the mental function. Sorry, I just had a brain bleep right there. But we can take homeopathics to like just help us to cope with stress. And Bach flower remedies are also great. There is a number of them and you can really pick what kind of stressor they can work on. So I recommend, this is something pretty easy and non-toxic that you can try. What else? Sorry, here's my next call, just contacted me already. And mindfulness, meditation, relaxation, yoga. I love detox baths with Epsom salts. It really helps to ground and unwind after a busy day. So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. This was fun. Please continue posting questions. If you watch this video in the replay, post your questions underneath. I will chime in. I'm going to check my page. And you can send me questions by email as well if you need to. And you can reach me at vivica@thenourished.caveman.com. Of course, I'm from the blog The Nourished Caveman. I am on Instagram. I am on YouTube. Lots of nice videos like this. You can find a lot of information. And I'm on Facebook. We are on Facebook right now. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Have fun. And I will be here next Thursday again. I haven't picked a topic yet, but feel free to ask me or post if there is a topic that you would like to chat about together. I would love to hear your feedback, and we'll do another Facebook Live. Thank you for watching and thank you for following.